Hi, this is this is the QMport model of the raw system, right? This is used by facilitators to basically set up test scripts, mark AC, and do the activities surrounding that. So you can the same thing like the old course. Facilitators only have access to subjects that have been assigned to them, right? So you can basically create your your test script manually. Now, to create your test script manually, you basically come first of all, send the test details, which can be objective only, essay only, objective and essay, test family, which can be test, exam, assignments, subject list history. We can now have the test dates, which you can set up the test date basically, the test time. But if you set the test date, the students don't have access to this test script until is the test date. Then if you set up a test time, even on that date, the student won't have access to that test until the test time. So if you set the test for 10 a.m., the student won't have access to the test script till 10 a.m. Then options or objective. So this is where you set up your objective option. This is where you set up your duration of your test. This is where you set up your calculator permission, whether you want to allow calculator for all questions, some questions, no question. This is where you stop the test flow. Now, since the test is showing one question at a time, if you set your test flow to one-way test flow, the student have to answer one question one, before they go to question two. But if you set a two-way flow, the student can answer question one and jump to question 5 before they come back to question 2 and stuff like that. So that's basically what two-way does. Then for your ROM, I do ROM maximum for the test, right? So proceed to questions, and this is where you can set your different questions. For non-mathematical questions, you can use this field. For mathematical questions where you want to enter formulas and stuff, you can switch out to math field. This can allow you now to browse through formula library here and add mathematical equations to your questions. Once you do this, you can still go in there and modify the equation into whatever you want, right? So you can do something like this. So you have a library of different formulas that you can add. You can also add diagrams to your questions. In your option, you can also have access to the math field where if you want to add a probably formula or math equations into your options, you can do that, right? So let's say it is 7, option B, 8, option C, 78, option D, let's say 90, for example. Then you can choose your correct option. You can say, for example, for this one A, you can save and initialize. Now, what this does is, by the time you do this, you set your first question, right? It now creates a test script so that it can allow you, as you're setting your different test questions, it has kind of a real-time update. So as you're setting the question, it's updating it in real time so that even if you have a power loss or your data is exhausted or whatever, stuff like that, you can basically come back and you have your test available. So let's say, for example, what is history? Then let's see history about the past, for example, future story. Option C, we can have present story. And then option D, we can have a story. That's the person. Then let's say options, the right option, for example, let's say is B, right? And you can do add. Now, it asks a second question for you. You can go in here, add your third question, fourth question, fifth question. You don't, you just click finish. Once you do finish, you have your test script right? So then the students can basically take this test, you can edit it, you can view scores and do other stuff like that. So you can come to this guy, you set this is for this thing. If there's score, you can click on view scores. You see the score. And then if there's an AC in there for options that have AC, you can literally mark your AC from here. This is where you mark your AC. So you click mark AC. it brings the option for you to mark your essay. So let's say your question 1 is difficult to 2. If you want to provide any feedback, you can provide feedback. Whatever lessons, feedback. From here, you do the same with 2. If there is no need for feedback, you do save all. Now, once you do this, if you see, match your ACA, and this now as you see, AC4, AC4, no. This child is basically easy. You've just easily match the ACA. This also is the system, because the system already automatically marks the objective questions, right? So you can come in here and manually mark your ACA. So you see, you've done your job seamlessly. And also, facilitators, they can be able to push scores to assessment fields, right? So for this now, you can easily click push scores and you can push it to any field. You want to push it to project, which is over 10, you want to push it to assignment, you can push it to exam, you can push. And what this does when you're pushing scores is it does percentage, right? So if the total score of your a field you're pushing it to, for example, now it's over 10. Now this child has gotten 57% of this. So which means now it's 5.7 over 10. If you're pushing this now to exam, now you see the child got 57% and exam is over 60. So when it does 57% of 60, it's 34.2. You see, with this flexibility now, you can create any test scripts for any field, and you can come for any family, whether assignment, test, exam, and you're free to now push it to any assessment fields inside your, what is it called, inside your system. You do this, you push this basically for this. So this doesn't just help in CBT activity, but it also help in score recording. So with this now, your facilitator can easily set up test script. Your students can easily take this test. If this as AC, your facilitators can easily come into the QMport and mark the AC, and then they can easily now push it to any score field. So with this, you have an all-rounder CBT management. And if you, let's say there are different units in a particular class, you have just 1A, you have just 1B, you have just 1C, you can just set your test script in just 1A only, and you can click share. It can allow you now to share your test script to just 1B and just 1C. For this school, they have Caritas, Unitas, and Veritas as the name of their unit. So we set this test in just 1 Caritas, and I can now share it now to just 1 Veritas and just 1 Unitas. I can easily do share and automatically to share this test to Veritas and Unitas. And then if we now go to Veritas and Unitas, you can see this test. And then it has an AI chatbot in there that can allow the facilitators to discuss. Now, before you set up your test, you can have a discussion with the AI chatbot in there, ask questions, it gives you feedback. Then you can use this now to get more insight in generating your test. And you can also use the AI in there to generate test scripts. Now, if you want to use the AI to generate test script, there are 2 ways to use your AI to generate test script. Because models are basically vast in knowledge, and we want to keep them contextual to whatever the school is teaching, so that it doesn't create question that is outside the topics that are being taught by the school. So if I want to create now a test script there are 2 ways now. There are 2 generation source for you to create a test script. So you can either create a test script from an existing lesson note. So if you have any lesson note, you select the lesson note, you select the weights, and you can generate the test from it. If you don't have a lesson note, you can generate a lesson by manually entering the topics, right? So this is history. I can say history of the Benin Kingdom. Then maybe types history, is anything like that. So you can do this, give it, what is it called? The it's your test date, give it a number of options. You can give it your name, duration, test time, your time. That's how many minutes you're supposed to take for the test. You give it a test time, which is actually the time that this test can be taken. On the manual test, which can be 10 a.m., whatever time you want to set test flow. You do that, you now do generate. Yeah. Now this takes a few minutes, more a couple of seconds to generate, because the model now goes in there, take these manual topics we've given it, and then generate test that is contextual to what we've given it. I think this should be it. Good, right? So now you can see this is the test script generated by the AI, and students can basically take it as easy as that. So this I use your AI model in there to generate test script either from your lesson plan, your lesson note, and then like I showed you, you can basically mark your essay and other stuff like that. Now this is a basic overview of the QMport and how the facilitators can use it to create tests for the student to take. Right? Thank you very much.